Today I'm showing you how I made this cottagecore themed dessert table for a small wedding. Getting started on the pumpkin spice cookies, I'm mixing up all of my dry ingredients. I have some softened butter that I'm adding in some brown sugar to. Also mixing in the egg yolks and vanilla. Now we're going to add in our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients. Once I portioned those out with a cookie scoop, I popped them in the fridge, and once they were chilled, I rolled them around in a sugar and pumpkin pie spice mixture. Then I baked those in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes. And now I'm working on my fresh strawberry reduction that's going into the wedding cake. I'm hulling about a pound of strawberries. I'm blending those up, and then I'm adding those to a saucepan with nothing else, just the strawberries, and then I simmer that for about 20 minutes till it cooks down and looks like that, and then you're gonna let it cool. For my little apple pie rosettes, I have some puff pastry that I just cut into equal strips. Brushing a little bit of butter and cinnamon to the bottom of a strip, and then I will take some apples and then put them with the peel side up on the top of the strip. Now I got these apples nice and pliable by slicing them really thin with a mandolin, putting them in some water and lemon, and then microwaving them for about 1 minute, and that makes them really soft and easy to work with. And then I baked those little rosettes in a muffin tin, 375 for about 40 minutes. Starting on the wedding cake, I am mixing up my dry ingredients, have my softened butter, creaming together sugar with that. And once it's nice and fluffy, I add in some egg whites as well as some vanilla. So now what I'm doing is I am alternating between the dry ingredients, that strawberry reduction that's been cooling, as well as some milk. And after alternating between the three, once you've used up all of your ingredients, your batter is going to be a nice pretty pink color. You can add more food coloring if you want, but I chose not to. I spread that evenly into two 9-inch cake pans, and then I bake those at 350 for about 30 minutes until a toothpick comes out clean in the center. I did repeat the recipe because it's a 4-layer cake, but that's what they look like when they're done baking. Now I'm working on decorating the cake. I'm creating a well in the middle of that cake layer with the icing, so that way I can add some strawberry filling and it not spill out the sides. That icing acts like a border. And then I just repeat that process again until I've used up all of my cake layers. Now that my layers are nice and evenly stacked, I'm going to start working on the crumb coat. Crumb coats don't have to be perfect. We're just sealing in any crumbs from getting into the outside icing that we're going to be applying later. But I do want this cake to turn out really sharp and smooth, so I'm taking my time, making sure the foundation is on point. And once I'm happy with the way that that's come out, I put it in the fridge for about 30 minutes to let it harden up. Now I'm working on the outside layer of buttercream. Now for this cake, there isn't going to be a ton of decor, so I had to make sure that the icing was really perfect. I wanted to make sure I smoothed it out, there was no air bubbles. I wanted the tops and the edges to be really crisp and clean because again, there wasn't a lot of decor, so any mistakes that I made, there was just going to be no way to hide them, so it had to be perfect. Adding in the final touches, they just wanted some lilies on the cake, so I put a couple of those on, as well as a Mr. and Mrs. cake topper. Now I'm at the reception location working on the dessert table. I took a bunch of moss and crumbled it up finely. I know what it looks like, but it's not that, it's just moss. And once I had that into a neat-ish pile, I put in the main pieces that I wanted to incorporate, like the cake stand. I also took a bunch of live greenery and just stuck that within the moss to give it some dimension. I also used some circle wooden discs to give the dessert some height here and there. So I wanted the dessert table to look like it was made by fairies on an enchanted forest floor, if that makes any sense. And once I placed the platters, I would stick some of that live greenery around the edges so it really looked like it was just coming up out of the forest floor. And I really just kind of played around with everything, moving it around, making it look nice and pretty. Took some fairy lights and I just gently placed those around all of the desserts, just being really careful. I also covered the wire with the moss so you could only see the lights peeking through. And this is the final result. And here's the happy couple doing their cake cutting. So cute. I love.